Crypto kids, don't worry about the dump that, well, Bitcoin already rebounded. We tested $69,000 and we're heading back up to the 71K area. Ladies and gents, since the last video, a lot has happened. Bitcoin went up to make a new all-time high of $73,000. Of course, we discussed this inverse head and shoulders that was forming, and my ultimate target was 74K. Then yesterday, just for my Telegram community, special to them, I created this Bitcoin TA update video, which was 5 minutes long, and I mentioned here that Bitcoin can either go up to 74K, but if not, it's possible that we see a retest to the $69,000 level. So I mentioned it here. If you're not in this community already, I highly recommend joining because it's absolutely for free. When I can't make a YouTube update video, I will post all of my updates here, so stay tuned. It would be right over there. But ladies and gents, the question that you're all asking is, what is next? And that's a very valid question. Of course, nothing in this video is financial advice, just my personal TA opinions only. But let's look into the chart. This is the 4-hourly time frame. I do have some breaking news for you, so stay tuned until the end. Most importantly, smash up the like button, subscribe if you have not already done so, and turn on the notification bell. But with that said, let's jump straight into the chart. We can see that there's a huge exhaustion of sellers at the 4-hourly time frame, and this is making me incredibly bullish. This candle that you see here is a hammer reversal candle, and if it appears after a subtle downtrend, that is absolutely fantastic. The last time that Bitcoin formed such a reversal candle was not too long ago, and that was right there. After seeing this huge exhaustion of sellers, Bitcoin skyrocketed to make a new high of $73,000. If you notice, whenever Bitcoin does hit a new all-time high, we dump tremendously. So this was a huge dump of approximately 15%. Then we had a 6% dump here after we created a new all-time high. Then another small dump. Again, we created a new, actually, we were just shy off of it. But the trend here is that Bitcoin dumps whenever we hit a new all-time high. And this is what we saw here. This is making me very bullish. The fact that we have an exhaustion of sellers here is giving me an indication that potentially Bitcoin could be hitting that 74K level. In terms of my trades, I'm still in the long position both on the $10,000 trading challenge that we opened at $43,000, and also, of course, on my personal account, I am still in a long position. Now, this is a 2x leveraged Bitcoin long, which we entered with 2x. Initially, it was a mistake. It was supposed to be 20x leverage, I believe, but you know what, we kept it that way. But with a 2x long, 130% profits is not bad whatsoever. If you are looking for a place to be trading Bitcoin, then you can head over to the description below to be able to get a chance of winning an Apple Watch giveaway. Make sure to do that right now because you are going to be missing out. So yeah, I mean, we've been in this long position since $43,000. I added and accumulated. I've mentioned when I would be doing this over on the Telegram community and of course on YouTube as well. So if I just open my entries here, we went into this long first at 43, and then our second entry was at 52K as we were breaking this bull flag, and then finally, actually not finally, yes, finally, it was at the breakout of this bullish pennant, and then I realized some profits and bought back at spot when we fell below $16,000. And I've been keeping it open so far. Right now I'm focusing more on spot Bitcoin holdings. I'm DCAing more into my spot positions. In terms of my, the longs on my account, it's lower leverage long positions that I'm not intending to close, like the one that we saw on Bitflex just a couple of seconds ago. Because if we compare it to the previous cycles, Bitcoin is, yes, in uncharted territories. We can't say like, all right, $80,000. That's going to be very good resistance because, of course, the price action has not been at that point ever, and we can't draw comparisons in terms of price action. What we can do is we can look at logarithmic regression and we can look at Fibonacci extensions. If we look at logarithmic regression, we have important resistance at the $90,000 or $90,000 levels, and then we also have, I believe, important resistance at 130K, which I believe is personally reasonable. But if you look at this chart, Bitcoin never ever tests back to the candle close of the previous all-time high on the monthly time frame. And if this candle closes in the green above this line, then I think we may not be seeing a $69,000 Bitcoin ever again. It's going to be important that, to see how Bitcoin reacts to the halving. If Wall Street observes the halving event as something bearish, then we may see a drop in price. But if Wall Street sees it as something bullish, which is what it should be seeing it as, because after the halving, Bitcoin is going to become the hardest asset in the world, then I don't see why Bitcoin should be continuing to pump and pump and pump. Ethereum is having the Denkun upgrade in 19 hours, and this probably will be reflected on the price. I've taken profit at both this level and $3,550. I've mentioned these two targets ever since Ethereum was at 2.1K, so huge congrats. But this is probably the most important chart for Bitcoin. This is the different parabolas and the different halving cycles. Bitcoin, I've shared this so many weeks back. First of all, I shared the Fibonacci golden pocket, and I've also shared the parabolas too that come with the different halving cycles. Bitcoin enters this parabola going into a new cycle, to a new bull market cycle. Then we exit the parabola going down, right? So there is a huge downside movement here, but if you compare it to the upside movement, it is barely anything in every single cycle. So as Bitcoin stays in this parabola, it continues going higher. When it breaks below, it goes into a bear market. Right now, Bitcoin is far away from the support of this parabola, giving me the indication that we could be entering into the $90,000 area probably comfortably, right? But if the parabola is broken and you're looking to be buying cheaper Bitcoin, I think there's going to be super important support at 47K, which aligns perfectly with the prior price action there. So 47K in the macro, I think could be a good buying opportunity. It's not guaranteed that Bitcoin is going to be doing that. If the parabola is broken, that's my target. But Bitcoin's in a different landscape now. We shouldn't be getting too euphoric. Like 47K is definitely a possible place to buy up Bitcoin. I already am thinking of putting limit orders there. So if you want to prepare, that could be a potential price level to buy a Bitcoin. In the midterm, I think $59,000 is also another good place to be buying up Bitcoin. If we look at gold, gold is seeing a reversal, but Bitcoin is still continuing to make new highs, which is fantastic. But that's pretty much it for my Bitcoin update. Now I want to get into the breaking news because that is also very, very much important. The basic gist of it is to not worry. I think Bitcoin is going to be doing just fine. And the reason why I also think it's going to be doing just fine is that retail is just coming back into Bitcoin. Like the other day, I was speaking to my barber and he's like, dude, Bitcoin, I saw Bitcoin's going up. Should I be buying? Granted, that is a top sign. That is usually a top sign. I was like, now that you said that, I'm selling my Bitcoin. I didn't say that to his face, of course. But look, we can see Drake reposting the Michael Saylor interview between Andrew Ross Sorkin on CNBC. He's reposted it to 150 million followers on Instagram. That's incredibly bullish. You can see all the traditional Instagram, like, famous mainstream pages also posting about Bitcoin now going over $70,000, most famously Rap TV. And the pinned comment is saying that, remember when bro begged us to buy $1 worth of Bitcoin? Of course, he's talking about Da Vinci here. And, I'm super grateful to be friends with Da Vinci, honestly. Like, he's such an incredible person. We're also seeing, like, mainstream media outlets like Yahoo Finance and Bloomberg now, they're posting saying, Bitcoin to $350,000. Bulls say that this current rally is just the beginning. Like, these are usually indications of a top for Bitcoin. It is scaring me that my friends at school are saying, okay, now maybe should I be buying Bitcoin now at $70,000? Like, once they say this, not a great sign overall in general, but I still do think that there's still some more upside movement for Bitcoin. If it goes down, well, what do? We stack sats and stay humble. That's the rule of the game. And for everyone comparing, by the way, gold to Bitcoin and saying that, gold is stable, it's matured, it's not volatile like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will never be able to be a store of value because it's so volatile all the time. Well, if you go back in history to when gold first started to become popular, you can clearly see the total volatility of gold. The red-orange line represents the percentage change in gold price monthly, and you can see the huge price swings. So Bitcoin is just 15 years old. It's only 1 year younger than I am. It's a young asset. It will take time for it to mature, and the Bitcoin ETFs are a beautiful opportunity to make sure that happens. Whenever we see a dip at this point in the cycle, it's in my opinion, a time to be buying up more Bitcoin. In the next 35 days, we're going to be seeing the Bitcoin halving. It's getting close. You can check the description below to track it live. We're probably going to be doing a watch party for this. The closer we come up to it, this number becomes more accurate. But do keep in mind it can still change. This is an interesting data point. So remember how the previous all-time high for Bitcoin back in 2021 was $69,000? Well, if you adjust it for inflation, actually for Bitcoin to surpass its all-time high, technically, that would be at $76,500 because the purchasing power of the dollar back in 2021 has decreased compared to now. So that's important, something to keep in mind of. And we can see on the monthly time frame, Bitcoin has broken the yearly parabolic SAR, which is, it's not done ever before. So this is the 6-month time frame. That is another very, very bullish factor. I want to run through the breaking news very quickly because we've not done so yet. We had the CPI today, and usually I posted this just a couple of hours back before the CPI announcement. That's why it's important to follow me over on Twitter too. All of my official social links in the description. Be careful of any impersonators. They're everywhere, so all the official links are going to be in the description below. But we can see that Bitcoin actually declines in the 6 hours after each of the past 10 CPI reports. So according to data, Bitcoin usually declines after CPI reports. It's something that we exactly saw today too. And look, the past really just doesn't lie at all. But yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, you would have had access to this information. So going through the breaking news update, we already covered the Drake one. We can see that the BBC actually covered Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high on the BBC channel. Again, another indication that potentially, look, with mainstream media, maybe we're nearing a top here, but I think it's all very much bullish. Even President Donald Trump talked about Bitcoin on CNBC. And he mentioned that, Donald Trump, of course, is a very maxi on the United States dollar, but he said that Bitcoin is also an alternative currency and it can function in its own thing. He said that he was okay with it. He launched a sneaker line just a couple of weeks back. And of course, an NFT collection too. And there were a lot of crypto payments that was accepted for both of these. And that's why I think if Donald Trump is reelected as president, I think this will be super, super bullish for Bitcoin. This interview went absolutely viral. This is the thing that Drake shared on his story. The interview between Michael Saylor and Andrew Ross Sorkin. Like, Michael Saylor puts Bitcoin so beautifully in terms of how it's bullish, how it's going to impact in the long run. But the most important highlight of what he said is the only downside pressure Bitcoin can see now is if it sees demand less than the 450 Bitcoin that's going to be put into the Bitcoin supply after the halving. Other than that, other than not meeting the demand, Bitcoin really doesn't have any other downside pressure because, well, a lot of GBTC holdings have been liquidated. We have some very good news for GBTC. I'm sure we talked about this in previous videos, but GBTC is basically launching a mini GBTC called BTC. And here it looks like the fees will be a lot less and Grayscale holders can switch to this ETF instead, where they won't, well, if they keep it there with lower fees, then they won't be incentivized to sell. So that is huge news for GBTC, and that could cause the price of Bitcoin to continue rallying higher. What is also super bullish for Bitcoin is that the London Stock Exchange is starting to accept Bitcoin exchange traded node applications. For the next video, I'm going to compile exactly how big the London Stock Exchange is, and I will show you how this is going to impact the price of Bitcoin positively. Keep in mind, all of the world's capital flows from London, not New York. So for something like this to be happening, it is incredibly bullish in my opinion. We also have some news regarding the Ethereum ETFs. It looks like it's probably not going to be approved in May 23rd. I think eventually it's going to be approved, but usually if we compare it to the Bitcoin ETF cycle, approximately 90 days ahead of the Jan 10 deadline, we already had the S1 amendments and everything. So right now there's absolutely nothing going on, and that's not really a great sign in my opinion. Bitcoin's price is going up, simultaneously volume is going up, open interest is going up. These are all incredibly bullish factors. I mean, if you have volume that is going up for Bitcoin or any asset class and the price is also going up at the same time, usually this indicates further price momentum to continue. So very, very great news for Bitcoin. Approximately 1,500 new wallets become millionaire wallets on Bitcoin. That's how well we're performing. VanEck, one of the ETF issuers, said that their fees are going to be zero until the 31st of March 2025, and that gave them like a 120x push in terms of volume. That was a super smart play there. In terms of retail profitability is still halfway compared to what we saw on the previous cycle for Bitcoin, but it's still getting there, and that's absolutely awesome. Exactly 4 years ago today, Bitcoin crashed to $4,000. Let me know in the comment section below. Have you been holding since the pandemic dip? If you did, then you're absolutely a legend. Unfortunately, 4 years ago, I was like 11, so I was just getting into Bitcoin. I wish I had the same knowledge like I did when I was 11. But hey, it is what it is indeed. But I believe that is pretty much it into what I want to go through. This was so embarrassing. I was the only person who laughed at this. I was in like politics class, and my friend, his name is Ethan. And when I was talking to him, I accidentally called him Ethereum. It was so embarrassing. But everybody's like, what? And I was the only one laughing in class. But hey, if you know, you know. Bitcoin actually surpassed the Swiss franc to become, I think, the 12th largest or 13th largest fiat by market cap. We also surpassed silver to become the 8th largest asset by market cap. Again, another two very, very bullish things in the macro. Of course, Larry Fink is continuing to promote Bitcoin, and that is always a very, very great thing. If you're going to be buying Bitcoin, don't buy it for you, buy it for your kids. Watch my video, which is buy 0.1 Bitcoin and become rich. That will explain everything. But if you want to buy Bitcoin, you need to think long term. And if you're thinking long term, you're thinking generational wealth. So the Bitcoin you buy right now is not only going to save you from inflation, it's not only going to hedge you against inflation, but it's going to hedge your kids and their kids. So by accumulating Bitcoin, you're doing something good for them. Keep that in mind. Total website traffic data confirms that retail is gradually returning to the market. We can see that total exchange traffic is up 45% since October and August last year. CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko are up 66%. That is phenomenal. But ladies and gentlemen, 1 Bitcoin equals 1 kg of gold, and that's where I'm going to end this video at. Thank you so much for watching. Again, make sure to smash up that like button. If you did enjoy it, there's nothing to worry from where I'm standing, but I'll be seeing you all in the next video very shortly. Take care, everyone. Have a great night, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.